Ever wondered how to spot a false prophet in a world filled with varying religious beliefs? It's a question that has been asked time and time again. In a world where truth and falsehood often intertwine, it becomes crucial to develop the ability to discern the real from the fake. This is especially true when it comes to spiritual guides and influences. So, how do you separate the wheat from the chaff? Stay tuned as we delve into the 10 red flags that expose a false prophet. The first red flag to look out for is self-proclamation. It's a common misconception that prophethood is a title one can bestow upon oneself. In reality, genuine prophets are recognized by divine or communal acknowledgement, not self-appointment. This is because prophethood is a calling, a divine mission, not a position to be claimed. It's a sacred role that requires humility, not ego. So when someone declares themselves a prophet without divine or communal recognition, it's a clear warning sign. Be wary of those who appoint themselves as prophets. The second red flag is an obsession with money. False prophets may prioritize their personal financial gain over the spiritual guidance they should be providing. Their teachings often revolve around prosperity, wealth, and the materialistic benefits of faith. They may emphasize the importance of tithing and donations, sometimes to an extreme degree. This is a stark contrast to true prophets who prioritize spiritual wealth and the nurturing of their followers' faith. True prophets focus on spiritual wealth, not material wealth. Thirdly, beware of those who use fear as a weapon. A common tactic of false prophets is to manipulate their followers through fear. They may predict catastrophic events or claim that those who don't follow their teachings will face dire consequences. This fear-mongering is not a sign of spiritual wisdom or divine insight, but rather a manipulation tactic designed to control and subdue. A true spiritual guide will foster peace, understanding, and love, not fear. Fear should never be a tool for spiritual guidance. Fourthly, watch out for a lack of accountability. Authentic prophets are held accountable for their actions and predictions. They stand by their words, taking responsibility when they're proven right or wrong. They don't shy away from scrutiny, rather they embrace it as an affirmation of their genuineness. If you encounter a prophet who consistently avoids responsibility, evades questions, or dismisses criticisms, be wary. This evasion is not a trait of true prophets. A lack of accountability can be a sign of a false prophet. The fifth red flag is changing doctrines. False prophets may often shift their teachings, bending them to their own advantage or to draw in more followers. They might twist ancient texts, interpreting them in ways that suit their agenda. They might also introduce entirely new doctrines, conveniently received through divine revelation. These erratic changes can cause confusion among their followers, leading them further away from the truth. Keep an eye out for these inconsistencies. Inconsistent teachings can be a sign of a false prophet. Now, let's move to red flags 6 to 10. The sixth red flag to look out for is personal gain. If a prophet's message seems to primarily serve their own interest, whether it's monetary status related or otherwise, it's a warning sign. True prophets uphold a message of selflessness and service, not self-enrichment. Next up, we have exclusivity. A seventh red flag is when a prophet insists that their interpretation of divine messages is the only valid one, or that salvation can only be achieved through them. This is a manipulative control tactic and is not aligned with the inclusive nature of spiritual teachings. The eighth red flag is intolerance. Beware of prophets who promote division, hostility, or discrimination against certain groups of people. Genuine prophets promote unity and understanding, not hate and division. Unfulfilled prophecies mark our 9th red flag. If a prophet frequently makes predictions that don't come true, it's a clear sign that their prophetic abilities are questionable at best. It's essential to remember that true prophecy is not a guessing game. It's a divine revelation. Finally, we come to the 10th red flag, lack of love. If a prophet's message lacks compassion, forgiveness, and love, be cautious. These are the cornerstones of most religious and spiritual teachings. A true prophet's message should inspire us to love more deeply and to treat others with kindness and respect. These 5 additional red flags can help you discern a false prophet. Now that we've covered the 10 red flags, let's do a quick recap. First, beware of self-proclaimed prophets. A true prophet doesn't need to shout their calling from the rooftops. Secondly, pay attention to those overly focused on money. Spiritual guidance should not come with a price tag. Thirdly, take note of those using fear tactics. Authentic prophecy should bring peace, not panic. Fourth, be cautious of those lacking accountability. A genuine prophet welcomes checks and balances. Fifth, watch for ever-changing doctrines. The truth doesn't flip-flop. And then we've covered the other 5 flags. Those who avoid tough questions, those who isolate their followers, those who make false predictions, those who exhibit moral failings, and those who create their own scripture. These are the red flags that could expose a false prophet. Remember these red flags as you navigate your spiritual journey. In conclusion, discernment is key in our spiritual journey. It's not just about recognizing the red flags, it's about understanding the why behind them. The importance of critical thinking in religious matters cannot be overstated. It's what separates blind faith from an informed, thoughtful belief. We've explored 10 red flags that might expose a false prophet, but the reality is there are as many red flags as there are false prophets. The ability to spot them comes from a deep understanding of what's true, what's right, and what aligns with our core beliefs. It's crucial to remember that even the most charismatic leaders can lead us astray if we're not careful. The more we know, the less likely we are to be deceived. So keep questioning, keep learning, and keep seeking the truth. Remember, the truth always stands the test of time. Stay vigilant.